4, need I say, door. And it's your boy, Icon, back in the US of A, back with a little Peacemaker, with another HBO Max TV review for you. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like and or subscribe. Check out my first 3 reviews for the first 3 episodes of Peacemaker. It is good to be back, but I am very tired because I also did New York Fashion Week over the weekend, and that was a lot. So videos coming up for that pretty soon. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to do the rest of the review. Like, too much time went by, and then between me flying from where I was back here, like I didn't get a chance to do the rest of the review. So I'm gonna try my best to do my review for WrestlePalooza. But until then, I'm gonna bring you this Peacemaker Part 4. So this is gonna be the last time I complain about this, but I still don't like the intro. And as much as I don't like it's bad, because what makes it worse, the part that really pisses me off about the intro is the ending when everybody just like lies in a pile together. And I'm like, what the fuck is the point of that? Like, what sense does that make? Like, it drives me like batshit insane. I hate the intro. Anyway, so in this particular episode, it's the fallout from when, like Argus, they're on their way to basically kick in Peacemaker's door. So he's there. John ends up contacting him to let him know that Argus is on its way. So then Chris and Eagly, they basically make a run for it, and then, they escape. The episode starts, though. It starts with his father, 35 years ago, with his father and him and his brother. And they show you how his father first got the dimensional portal. Like, he was taking his sons hunting in the forest, and then they shot an alien. They shot and killed an alien. And then when they killed the alien, they found out that the alien was basically trying to go into that portal. The alien was probably the one that opened the portal. We don't know. There was like this iron thing on the floor. And apparently that device has the ability to open the portals and to move the portals to different places. When Peacemaker picked it up, it looked like his helmet. It looked exactly like how his helmet looks, and I feel like that's where they got the idea from. So that's the origin story about how they found the portal. When Peacemaker escaped from his house, when he evaded Argus custody, he called Adebayo, which they're calling abs now, for ads now for some reason. He called Adebayo. Adebayo picked him up, and then he told Adebayo about the portal. And then she was just like, wait, so your dad didn't build the portal? And he was like, no, my dad's an idiot. So then she said, so if your dad didn't build the portal, he basically just opened and just built a house around it. She said, if that was the case, and if he didn't build the portal, how did he make all of your helmets? And then he was like, oh, that's a different story for a different day. I feel like that's definitely going to mean something like down the line. But it is very interesting, because we were under the impression that because his father made all the helmets, like we thought his father made the portal. So that was actually a pretty decent piece of business that we need to figure out later on. John was, interacting with the rest of the Argus people. There was too much comedy going on that wasn't funny. And then the Spanish girl, I don't know if she's Indian, I don't know if she's Spanish. Like, maybe I believe she's Spanish. But with her, she's the only serious one in the group, and even her seriousness was like basically being turned into comedy when they were just like, there was really no point. I hate the black dude. Like, the black dude is annoying as hell, and he needs to be off the show. Judo Master's back. Like, he's still doing his usual bullshit. And John is basically in a situation where he's trying to protect Peacemaker, although Argus is coming to get his ass. Director of Argus, Rick Flag, Sr., he ends up going to Hardcore, who's still getting her ass beat in an alley. He goes to her, and then he's just like, hey, you've basically been blackballed by all the spy organizations on the planet. But in order for you to get back into the government's good graces, you can do something for me, and you can bring in Peacemaker. So now she has a decision to make, because like, does she betray Chris, and the organization, or does she, basically does she sell Chris out in order to get her job back? So, and then like the way she was talking to him too, like he was just like, oh, call me Rick. And she got real comfortable because she cursed him out too. Like, she was just like, oh, my fucking country. Like, I bled for my country and this is bullshit. And I was just like, well, damn. I'm like, he's still a general. But, like her attitude is her own worst doing. So then after that, so now Chris basically goes to like his grandfather's cabin in a different part of the woods. When they tried to go into Peacemaker's house the first time to go get him, there was a Native American gentleman who got brought in to bring in Eagly specifically. And he seemed like he was just some regular, like, crackpot dude. Like, there was nothing significant about him. Eagly attacked him at one point. He took one to the head. But then later on in the episode, he ended up sitting down by the fire doing some, doing some like some magical, like he summoned like the power of the Ashe or like, like the spirit animals or some. Like apparently the dude got magic powers, or because he's Native American, he can tap into the natural planes of the ancestry. Basically, he did some shit. He did some astral projection shit, where he put himself in the sky and he saw Eagly and saw that Eagly landed on top of Chris's grandfather's house. So now he knows where Eagly is. And I'm just like, does this man have magic powers, or is this like some secret like Native American shit that we don't know about? But it was actually pretty cool, because he ended up being like a joke character who didn't amount to anything. And then at the end of the episode, he actually turned into somebody. Like I was like, oh, this guy's actually important. So, but more and more on him later, I guess, because his whole thing is he just wants to kill Eagly. Like that's his whole thing. So Chris is telling Adebayo about about the other dimension, and about him, and about him killing his doppelganger, and like his brother being alive and his dad being alive, and him and Hardcore having a thing. And then that's when Adebayo told him, she was like, no matter what happens, she said that it's not real. She was like, God put you on this earth and this universe for a reason. This is where you're supposed to be. And then Chris was like, but how do you know that? Like maybe things got switched up. He's like, it's about time I get a win. And then for some weird reason, with him basically like, because he reopened the portal at his grandfather's house. So for him basically trying to make an argument for why he should go to the other dimension, for some reason, he made one last attempt to try to call Hardcore. And I don't even know why he called her, to be honest with you. I don't know if he called her to say goodbye or to see if there was really nothing between them before he goes into the portal. But at this point, she's talking to Rick Flag Sr. and the rest of Argus, and they're basically telling her to bring him in. So he texts her, she texts back, and then they agree to meet at a mutual place. So she tells Argus about the place. So now Peacemaker's on his place to the meetup point. Hardcore is there, and then Argus is there, and they're basically all going to ambush him as soon as he shows up. So that was pretty much it. And that's how the episode ended, and thank you for tuning in. So there was a lot of joking in this episode. There was a lot of the meat of the matter of the episode is, he got out of his house, he opened a new portal, he's thinking about whether he should go to the other dimension for the rest of his life. Hardcore calls him, they meet up, and now he's going to get ambushed. That was basically like the gist of the episode, but I thought we would spend more time with him in the other dimension, and we haven't, because we're still trying to wrap up all the shit that's happening on his specific Earth, and the Argus characters are annoying as hell. I would be fine with just the Spanish girl and I was about to call him Bill. And John, I'd be fine with just her and John, him and John, like that, I don't need Judo. I mean, Judo Max was in the first season, so you got to bring him back. But I don't know. It's just there's just aspects of it, like the comedy, certain characters, like the comedy thing isn't funny for them. But like I said, share your questions, comments, and or concerns down below. I saw people online talking about the whole thing with the portal could be an opening, for Dark Side, and I'm like, that did not look like a mother box, or a boom tube at all, but. I don't know. So, like I said, we're at the point now where obviously, when he gets ambushed, obviously there's going to be a point where he's just fuck this, and he goes and he just tries to live his life in the other dimension. And there's going to be a moment where Rick Flag Jr. is going to see the Rick Flag Sr. from that other universe. The two hardcores are going to meet. So, I just wish we'd get to it already, because all this unnecessary talking is just I don't have a problem with it. I enjoyed the episode, but it's kind of dragging out, and I'm just let's just get to the meat of the matter. That's it. But share your questions, comments, and concerns down below, and let's continue to talk about it. What you think about this particular episode of Peacemaker? And let's put your comments down below, and let's keep it rolling. Hit me up on TikTok, on Instagram, on X, and YouTube, where you can leave those questions, comments, and concerns, because I'm back, baby. Back from hiatus, back from vacation, back from Madagascar, and I said I'm here to bring you guys all that superhero goodness and everything in between. I missed Demon Slayer. The Demon Slayer movie came out. I didn't get a chance to see it, but I said we're gonna try to review that, and I'm trying to put that up on my channel as well and review it for all of you. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time, for peace, let's open a door to the future. And until then, we're out this. See ya!